my 5-star reads of 2025, but I will die on the hill of this is a good book. Please give me this book if I ever get amnesia. Hello my lovelies, welcome back. My name is Viry for those of you who are new here. Today I'm very excited. As you all can see, we are in a different area in my house. We are in our office. I usually do not like recording here and I do not like being here when it's not work hours because I need that separation of life and home. However, I'm making an exception for this moment because I do need my desktop set up. It'd be easier to create this video using a bigger screen than my own laptop screen. All of that aside, y'all clicked this video for a reason. We are here to talk about my 5-star reads of 2025. These are my 5-star reads up until today. Today is December 13th. I do have a few more books, so if I do have any 5 stars from the books that are still pending, I probably won't be adding them here. And I do have one 5-star that I have not reviewed with you all yet that I will be adding here and I will briefly talk about as well. But yeah, these are all my books. I mean, what else can I say? My best books of the year. We knew we were going to do this. I did this last year. This year, it looks like I only have 14, so maybe that is still quite a good amount. Let's just go ahead and get started with this video. I'm going to make myself small and we're going to go ahead and look at the tier list. I have my tier list. As you all can see, I have 5 different sections and we have the list of all of my 5-star reads. I'm not going to summarize books. I've talked about these books before, all of them except for one, so maybe I will touch briefly on just that one book, but I already raved about these books. We're just going to make this fun and quick, hopefully, and list my 5 stars, see if they are still 5 stars. We have 5 different categories. My top 5 stars, my absolute favorite, I love them, will be going in the first category, which is give me this if I get amnesia. Basically, this means I love these books so much that if I ever lose my memory, give me this book to read so I can enjoy it all over again because I loved it that much. Now, the category below that one is consumed my soul. This category is for those books that I still absolutely loved, but they're not the first books I will read if I ever get amnesia. But I still love them so much that they consumed my soul. Then my next category is absolutely yes. This is a solid 5. This is something that was a 5, no question. However, some of these other books on here are better than this category specifically, but that does not make it any less than a 5. The next one is got caught up in the moment. Obviously, this is more if it's a 5 for me. I got caught up in the moment, reflecting on it. I realized I read something better, but you know, I still have a soft spot. It's still a 5, but I mostly just got caught up in the moment. And then lastly, we have meh 4.75, which means it could have been a little bit lower or a completely different rating, and I just overhyped it myself. I don't know if any of these fall in that category, but we'll see. So let's start off with the first one, which is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. The Handmaid's Tale, this is going to be an absolutely yes. This is a classic. This is dark. This is dystopian. This is a political book you want to be reading right now, considering our political climate. But The Handmaid's Tale, it's a triggering book. If you have not read it, definitely look at trigger warnings because it is not an easy book to consume, but it is a very important piece of literature and I will rave about this book. This is an absolute yes. I will encourage everyone and anyone to read this. And this is a classic. Banned books, we love a banned book here, so yes. Next one, Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Okay, this one, I want to say absolutely yes, because it's not consumed my soul. I really enjoyed it, but it didn't consume my soul. In fact, it like made me really upset at times. So I think it would be an absolutely yes. It could be got caught up in the moment, but I still, no. Okay, yeah, absolutely yes. We're gonna final say, absolutely yes. That's where it lands. Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This one is, I want to say literary fiction. Hold on, let me see what they have it on Goodreads as. Fiction, literary fiction, thriller, mystery. Definitely falls into those categories. This is another book where it really touches on social commentary, specifically within cultural appropriation. This is really big on that. I mean, just the title is called Yellow Face. You can kind of see where this book will be leading towards. And honestly, this was one of my favorite books of the year. And it was really, really fun to discuss with my book club. I really enjoyed reading this book. I loved the roller coaster of emotions it took me on because I did not want to cheer on the main character, but at the same time, I kind of wanted her to get away with things just because I didn't like the way other things would get exposed, because I wanted the other people to have justice, but then at the same time, like, I didn't like how other people were trying to get justice by benefiting from her downfall. And it was just such a confusing feeling reading this book, and I loved it, especially towards the end where I could feel the spiral into the paranoia, and I just enjoyed myself immensely. This was such a good book. So absolutely yes. Did it consume my soul? Not quite, but I would not change my rating. Now, The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is another classic. This is going to be another absolutely yes. Actually, consumed my soul? No, absolute yes. Consumed my soul. I'm gonna say consumed my soul because The Hobbit has given me so much inspiration on how to write and stuff like that. Like, I loved the writing. I loved the narration style. I loved how it felt like I was being just told a story about this one person having an adventure. Oh, yeah. Consumed my soul, as you can see. The imagination, the characters, they just came to life so well. The writing was absolutely beautiful. I can see how many books are inspired by this author, but this one did consume my soul. I loved it. I enjoyed it, and it could be an absolutely yes, but it's just slightly above that. Just slightly, you know? Yeah. Okay, cool. Great. The next book we have on here is How the King of Elfame Learned to Hate Stories. This one, I probably got caught up in the moment, but I love the Folk of Air series. So it also consumed my soul, but I for sure got caught up in the moment. Because if we're talking about it as the series as a whole, the Folk of Air series as a whole, then yes, it consumed my soul. Holly Black's writing is another author who will be such a memorable author for me because I just loved how she writes. I love how whimsical yet cruel these characters are, and it really did transport me to a whole different world. This is why this series is going to be one of my favorite series. However, when we're separating it and we're just looking at How the King of Elfame Learned to Hate Stories, I loved the illustrations. That consumed my soul. That absolutely consumed my soul. But the rest of the story, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't anything super memorable. If it wasn't for the illustrations, it might have been a little bit lower. And yeah, I just got caught up in the moment. I loved being back in this universe, and it's definitely not lower than a 5, but I did get caught up in the moment. The next book, Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. This book is going to be got caught up in the moment. It's still a 5, don't get me wrong, it is still a 5. All of those got caught up in the moments are still 5s. I just really got caught up in the moment and I felt more excited with them. And now that I'm reflecting, I'm just like,
they're still 5s. I could still give them a 5.
But maybe later on in the years as I grow older, the ratings might change because my taste might change. Also, my chair is really creaky. Sorry about that. Vampires of El Norte, I really enjoyed. I definitely got caught up in the moment with this one because I was reading it in Spanish and I love the references because I could understand them. But I also really like how, yes, this is more of a horror romance than anything, but I love the historical aspects of it and the social commentary of the disparity between the working class and the upper class, and overall the metaphor of the vampires and stuff like that. Like, it is such a good book, and I definitely got caught up in the moment because this is one of the books where you did not see the struggle of me trying to rate this, because this felt like a 5 as soon as I finished it, but leading up to it, I was so frustrated with the romance, and I feel like the way it got wrapped up, it just was so satisfying, and it made that frustration totally worth it. And that's why I feel like I got caught up in the moment. But it's still such a good book because of all of the other little details to it. It's between an absolute yes and a got caught up in the moment, but I'm gonna say more got caught up in the moment because I know I did. Next book, Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is going to be Give Me This If I Get Amnesia. Yeah, I know. Oh my god, I know a lot of people do not like this book. I know a lot of people think this book is overrated. I have heard everything, but I will die on the hill of this is a good book because this satisfies every little guilty pleasure of mine when it comes to my romance books. This has the single guardian trope. This has the grumpy sunshine trope, which I love a grumpy sunshine trope. The he's only kind to her kind of situation, but secretly he's kind with everyone. It's just his attitude he needs to work on. I love this book. It is what got me back into reading, and please give me this if I ever get amnesia so I can enjoy it all over again because I love this book. I love this book. I always talk about it, so we're going to go ahead and move on from this book. Next book on here, Alchemized by Sin Lin Yu. Give me this if I get amnesia. I mean, y'all are going to be so mean to me if you give this to me after I wake up from like memory loss or whatnot because the trauma I'm gonna go through. But please give me this book if I ever get amnesia because I really like this book and this is such a good book. I love the world building. You all know I'm a sucker for world building. I love the character depth. There's so many layers to these characters. They're not likable. They're so complex. They grow on you because they start growing as characters. The political commentary of it all. Wow. The elements that this book has, all for it to be one book, one standalone fantasy and still get wrapped up at the end. What an experience. What a roller coaster. Please give me this book if I ever get amnesia because I want to be able to experience all of this again. I might hate you for doing this to me again, but I will also really be forever grateful because that was a good book. And if you haven't read it, I would recommend it, but I would very, very much check trigger warnings because it is extremely heavy and very dark. It's not for everyone and I respect that. Please definitely look at the trigger list. Anyway, moving on. The next book that we have on here is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This one is going to be a got caught up in the moment. I actually kind of wanted to do 4.75, but after raging about it so much, I kind of feel embarrassed, but it is more of a got caught up in the moment because I still like the book a lot. I still feel, I think it's a 4.7 spot. It might be, okay. It's a 5, but it could also be a 4.75. So I did get caught up in the moment, but I also do feel like I might have rated it a little bit higher than I should have. But this one's hard. You know what? We're gonna put it back on got caught up in the moment because I'm still caught up in the moment. I did see some things coming, but it still took me on a roller coaster of a ride. There are some things where I was just so blindsided about and I'm like,
I did not expect that at all. Like at all, absolutely.
the writing was so engaging. If you did not pay attention to the little details, you would miss the tiniest of clues ever. I don't know, I really like it when books are like that. It was definitely a very interesting experience, and now that I'm like talking about it, I feel more sure about being caught up in the moment because it does still feel like a 5. I do still feel like this is a 5-star book. Okay, next book is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is going to be a consumed my soul. Yeah, absolute yes. Consumed my soul. No, consumed my soul. This was so cute. This was so cute. By the way, I had coffee, but I had coffee a while ago. I'm just talking about my favorite books of the year, so I'm naturally gonna be super excited. The Spell Shop was consumed my soul because this is my first cozy fantasy that I know of, and it was so cute. It was so cute. I'm thinking about it now and I just want to read it again. I want to get a cinnamon bun and I want to cozy up with my dog and just get a blanket, turn on the Christmas lights and read it again because it was so cute and cozy. There were a little bit of heavier moments, but the way that the story narration happened throughout the book, it didn't feel like such a heavy book, but there still were a little bit of serious stakes. And it carried so well throughout the book without ruining the magical element. And I think that's another thing everything was the magic in this book was so whimsical. I just was so happy. I don't know how else to explain it. I was so happy. And I have talked about the scene before, but there was a scene in the book where she was in the forest and I just wanted to cry because it was so beautiful and I felt like there was magic around me. The writing of this author, I'm reading another one of her books. It just felt like a warm hug. Oh, I loved it. I loved it so much. You know what? Give me this if I get amnesia, because I want to experience this book all over again if I ever lose my memory. Now that I'm talking about it more, I love this book so much. Yeah. So the next book we have on here is Here One Moment by Leanne Moriarty. This was, I think, my first 5-star of the year. This is an absolutely yes. I feel like this is one of those books that you kind of just have to read every few years because it just reminds you to take a moment, breathe, and live your life and be present in the moment because life can change so quick and it's so precious. I really, really loved this book. This was such an amazing book. This book made me realize how much I actually really enjoy reading literary fiction. There's just so much more to take away from these books, and Here One Moment was one of those books. Absolutely yes. So the next book on here is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Absolutely yes. This is a classic. Jane Eyre is possibly one of my favorite classics. It's not my favorite classic, but it's one of my top favorites. This is one of those books that I will reread. Jane Eyre, of course, it's a book you want to read during fall season because of how atmospheric it is. It's a very gothic book. I feel like I learned different lessons from it. Like this time around, I can see how Mr. Rochester's relationship with Jane was actually needed to make Jane grow as a character. While before, I could not stand it. I did not understand why. Good book. Classic, and absolutely yes, I would recommend it. Okay, wow, we're down to our last 3. The next book we have on here is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one consumed my soul. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Daisy Jones and the Six consumed my soul because, like, first of all, I have never read a book formatted as an interview before. I dead ass had to look up if this band existed because I thought this was real. That's how good the narration is. I genuinely thought this was a real band. It's fictional. It's a fictional band. It did take me through a whole Fleetwood deep dive kind of situation and I started listening to them a lot. But that's besides the point. Taylor Jenkins Reid became probably one of my top authors because of this book, and I will forever be grateful that my friend pushed me to read this book because for whatever reason I just didn't seem to really want to pick it up, and I don't know why, because it was a really good book. It is messy. The characters are so messy and it makes sense because they're so humanly flawed. It is a story about life and the trials of life and how some people navigate them better than others and how everyone will eventually get where they need to be. If you like historical fiction, if you like kind of rock star themed books and stuff like that, this is one of those books. I'm so late in the game. I think this is a book talk book, but if you haven't read it, if you're like me, I would recommend it. I would. It's a good book. I enjoyed it very much. I do feel like reading it and listening to it is going to be a completely different experience because when you're reading it, the way you're perceiving these characters are however you're reading the actual script, right? Or the script, the physical format. However you're reading it, however your mind is perceiving it, that's how these characters are going to develop in your mind. When I started listening to it because I wanted to keep reading the book, I was in the middle of it and I did not want to put it down, but I had to walk my dog. I turned on the audiobook and the voice actors made such a difference in the interview style portion because you could hear their personalities through the acting. And for me, that made such a big difference because I was reading the characters one way and I couldn't understand why they would react a certain way. But then when I was also listening to it, I'm just like,
oh wow, their personality is completely different from what I expected it to be.
The voice actors did such a good job bringing the story to life. Consumed my soul. Next book is Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This is the 3rd book in the Boys of Tommen series. This is about Joey and Aoife, and you all have not heard me talk about this book yet because I just read it earlier this month in December. This, obviously, spoiler, is a 5-star for me. This is going to be a consumed my soul. I was expecting one of these books to be a 5-star for me. Saving Six just turned out to be that book. So for me, Saving Six, I will not summarize the book because this is not a reading wrap, but I will say why I enjoyed it. And I think it's because we went back to that house. I knew we were gonna go back to the Lynch house, and I was really having a hard time picking up Saving Six for that very reason. Because if you don't know, this book does talk about abuse in the house, in the home. So these kids come from an abusive household. It's a very hard book to read for that reason. So definitely check trigger warnings when it comes to the series and this book and all of the other books probably. This book, even though it took us back in time and we went through the full timeline again, was such a completely different book from the rest of the series. And it's so good because you're reliving these moments through someone else's life. And you would think that feel repetitive after reading some of that in the previous 2 books, but it did not. It was a completely new story with different characters, and getting to know these characters was so... I loved it. So that was one of my reasons why I gave it a 5, was because the author did something that I feel very few authors can do, which is create a whole new story from the same storyline you were already working on, because now we're seeing it through a different perspective and we get to learn about these characters more. And it's so interesting seeing these characters that were side characters in the other 2 books come to life and have a lot more depth. And I'm going to leave it at that because I have a lot more to say about it, but this book consumed my soul. It made me want to cry. It hurt. It made me just want to hug Joey and like protect him and just no one touch my baby boy Joey. Like, he needs all the love in the world because these poor kids, oh my god, my heart consumed me, consumed my soul entirely. I loved it. Next book on here is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Another 5-star and another consumed my soul. Taylor Jenkins Reid, what are you doing to me? Like, you literally own my soul at this point. What? 2 books of yours on here. Come on. Come on, girl. Give the others a chance. Atmosphere, I'm not even going to tell you a little bit of what it's about because you just have to go read it. I'm not going to rob you from that experience. In fact, give me this if I get amnesia, because again, you're going to do me so dirty if you give this to me as soon as I wake up from memory loss. But I want to experience this hurt all over again. Yeah, give this to me if I get amnesia. I want to have that experience of not going in at all and reading it and not knowing what's going to happen, because the moment that you know what's going to happen, oh my god, that hurts so bad. And that's exactly why I'm saying I'm not going to talk about what this book is about. Just know it's a good book. It's a good book. Get ready to cry. This is the one book that actually made me cry this year. Like, I think I shed a few tears here and there because I was on my period and felt overly emotional, but actually bawled my eyes and cried. Atmosphere. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, yay! This is our list right here. This was such a good year for books. 14 5-stars so far. I still have a few more books I'm reading right now. They may or may not be 5 stars. We will not know until I finish them. So you probably won't know until I have my December wrap up. But at least for now, this is what we have as 5 stars. And I'm very proud of this. What do y'all think about this? Do you agree with me? I will fight you if y'all disagree with me on the give me this if I can. I won't fight anyone. I could be passive aggressive, but I'm not confrontational. Not unless I really have to be. I'm very curious to see what y'all think. I'm curious to see if you agree with any of these or if you feel like some of these on here are overhyped. And tell me why, because I will not accept anything otherwise. These books are my babies right now, okay? This is what made me happy and made me get through the year, through the very hard year. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know down in the comments below, what are your books of the year, your favorite books, your give me this if I get amnesia book. I really want to know, because then maybe I haven't read it, and if I haven't read it, I want to read a book that will make it to that category. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already and you would like to, please subscribe. I usually make book content, and now and then I make some lifestyle vlogs. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a beautiful day and happy reading. Bye.